Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Leading MAGA figures are now urging Donald Trump to deploy ICE agents to election polling stations. And the debate over that just blew up in the face of a former Trump official on live TV. We'll get to that in a moment, but first, the idea of suppressing Democratic votes, deploying ICE at certain polling stations, is being loudly promoted by MAGA influencer Steve Bannon.
We can use what's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports. We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 2026 midterm election, sir?
Yeah, I think we should have ICE agents at the polling places.
Bannon then claimed it's all about efficiency.
I think it's perfect training for the fall of 2026. Look what happened. They moved everybody along. People get there quick. They vote quick. Maybe every now and again they pull somebody line. Hey, yo, ID? Got an ID?
First of all, at the airports, ICE agents are not moving everybody along. They are observing and standing around like potted plants because only the TSA agents are trained to operate the scanning machines. And the lack of TSA agents at those machines is what is causing the lengthy delays. Secondly, the impact of putting armed federal agents at or near polling locations will be to suppress the vote. And if agents are placed at Democratic precincts, as MAGA folks, including Donald Trump, are discussing, you have clear election interference. Now, to CNN. Ken Cuccinelli, a former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security in Donald Trump's first term, insisted that Bannon and other MAGA folks are just trying to get under the skin of Democrats with these ICE election threats. Cuccinelli noted that placing armed federal agents in voting locations would be against the law.
Look, there's a federal statute that forbids federal law enforcement from being armed near polling places, and law enforcement doesn't go anywhere unarmed. So he's pulling your chain and you're letting him. That's been the law since the Reconstruction era.
There's also a peaceful transfer of power.
The law now?
There's also a peaceful transfer of power in the law, and guess who broke the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history?
Nice try, Adam.
That was progressive YouTuber Adam Mockler referring to the January 6th Capitol riots and the effort by Trump voters to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Cuccinelli responded to Mockler with dismissiveness, and everybody in the panel then started to talk over each other.
What do you mean, nice try? Scott Jennings wrote an article titled
Trump Tom Homan just no. Look, I've been being polite to you all day, and I'm done with it. So look, this same kind of attack on sensitive spaces was made. Tom Homan answered it quite well earlier this week, going into schools, hospitals, etc. And he called the bluff. Name one time that's ever happened when someone in a hot pursuit you could end up in there, but enforcement actions are not taking place in those places.
Wait a minute.
They're not going to take place.
ICE has skirted 200 court orders just in the state of Minnesota since this year begun. Just because I point out that Trump has already tried to overturn an election doesn't mean that you can go on some random tangent. I mean, we have people at this table who called Trump out for causing January 6th and wrote articles about it. So
the problem.
Congratulations.
And that was a reference to MAGA water carrier and CNN analyst Scott Jennings. Also, regarding Cuccinelli's claim that ICE doesn't go into hospitals and schools unless they're in hot pursuit of a suspect, actually, ICE agents have repeatedly gone into hospitals, medical centers, and school grounds. The courts have blasted the ICE agents for those warrantless intrusions, but the courts haven't always stopped ICE from doing things that are unlawful or unconstitutional. And that was Adam Mockler's point to Cuccinelli. And regarding the alleged efficiency that ICE might bring to long lines at the polls or airports, here is former Democratic Congresswoman Val Demings.
The problem with ICE being at the airports to supplement TSA, they're just not trained to do what TSA does. They're certainly there. They have a larger presence. I'm not sure how that is really helping with the problems with the lines, because they cannot help in the scrutiny, right? I'm not sure. But what I do think is that the president wants America to get used to seeing ICE on the streets of America, in polling places, in airports.
And by that count, Americans are getting used to seeing ICE agents on the streets and in airports. So deploying ICE agents at polling locations may not seem like such a dramatic development, even though it would be illegal. And that's the issue here. The Trump administration has repeatedly violated court orders. there does seem to be an effort to condition the American people to seeing armed federal agents anywhere and everywhere. And amidst polls showing Republicans are going to get wiped out of their House majority by 30 to 40 seats and also lose their Senate majority, the fears that Republicans will try and cheat by blocking or suppressing Democratic votes, those fears are real. Even some Republicans are giving away the game, so to speak. Donald Trump keeps talking about legislation called the SAVE Act, which would impose new ID requirements and proof of U.S. citizenship in order to vote. Trump is convinced millions of illegal immigrants are voting and helping Democrats. Like so much Donald Trump says, there is no evidence of this. Still, Republicans are trying to move the SAVE Act legislation forward. By all accounts, the ID requirements, which include having names match birth certificates, would cause a lot of problems for people, say, married women who have had their names changed. And even Republican lawmakers say the new requirements and hurdles would reduce voter participation. Listen to House Speaker Mike Johnson, who was caught on a hot microphone reacting to a new analysis about lower voter turnout.
Turnout. Well, we thought it would be 12, but it looks like it might be 18%.
That'd be huge for us.
18% lower voter turnout would be huge for us, Johnson said. And he's right. Republicans seem desperate to suppress Democratic votes and Democratic enthusiasm in the midterm elections. Leading MAGA figures like Steve Bannon are already talking about putting ICE agents in Democratic voting locations. And even though such a move is illegal, even Trump defenders are getting tripped up when confronted with the fact that laws and court orders have not stopped Donald Trump and his MAGA followers. In other words, this isn't just a debate. Voter suppression through ICE agents or other means is a threat to be taken seriously. By the way, First Lady Melania Trump is now getting trashed for convening a global education summit and then leaving after 7 minutes. The First Lady invited 45 nations to send representatives to her Fostering the Future Summit in Washington, D.C. Melania Trump kicked off the State Department conference by stepping up to the podium and delivering brief remarks.
Good morning. I wish everyone great success during Fostering the Future Together's Global Coalition Summit. There is much to accomplish over this 2-day period, and this is only the beginning. Thank you.
But it was the end for Melania Trump. Instead of taking a seat and staying even for a little while, she kept walking and walking until she went through that curtain. A poll report said she left the premises immediately. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Josh, who wrote, "The entire family is an international embarrassment." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about a Trump official melting down on live TV when confronted with MAGA plans to deploy ICE in the midterm elections. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.